Writer's Toolbox. This is a new short course titled Writer's Toolbox, taken from the book Educational Programs by Muteb Alqarni. In this course, we will familiarize ourselves with writing, its nature, steps, stages, and styles. We begin by emphasizing that writing is a broad subject that cannot be fully covered in a short course like this. There are many forms of writing, such as narrative, creative, journalistic, technical, academic, descriptive, and many others. Therefore, in this course, we will focus on discussing the art of journalistic essay, which ranges from 300–600 words and is commonly found in newspaper columns. The journalistic essay is a container that can hold everything, as it may contain a short story, a screenplay, news, or official documents, etc. It's a vessel that can contain anything, and we can write anything in it. So let's proceed to write a distinguished journalistic essay. To begin with, it can be said that an essay consists of 3 parts. 1. Introduction, 2. Main text, and 3. Conclusion. Through these parts, the process of writing takes place, which is the process of conveying ideas from the writer to the reader in the old traditional way, pen and paper, or in the modern digital way, screen and buttons. Since writing is the process of conveying ideas, it is a process of communication. Therefore, learning about communication skills will be essential in crafting a distinguished writer, as through that course available in this channel, you will learn as a writer the effective communication methods, the importance of content brevity, clarity, completeness, accuracy, etc. Communication is an important process for speakers to improve their speech and for writers to enhance their text. Before starting to write your essay, it is important to realize that writing is a skill among the 4 language skills: reading, listening, writing, and speaking. Reading and listening are receptive skills, meaning that by reading texts with your eyes and listening to conversations with your ears, you only receive information through your eyes and ears, and this requires little effort. Speaking and writing, on the other hand, are productive skills. When you speak, you produce speech with your tongue, and when you write, you produce a text with your hand. And since you move your tongue and your hand, this requires more effort. Mastering productive skills, speaking and writing, is more difficult than mastering receptive skills, listening and reading, because they primarily depend on receptive skills. In other words, you won't speak well until you listen more, and you won't write well until you read more. Therefore, reading is a prerequisite for building writing. Through reading, you will learn 1. Grammar and vocabulary, and 2. Ideas and perspectives. A good writer is one who masters grammar, which includes syntax, morphology, spelling, and punctuation, and selects the most beautiful and suitable vocabulary and the best ideas and perspectives. Although both require reading, acquiring grammar and vocabulary can be done through light reading. Mastering grammar and vocabulary may take 1 year, while acquiring ideas and perspectives may require extensive reading. Building a stock of good ideas may take 10 years. Let's start with the helpful ways to accelerate acquiring grammar and vocabulary. We define grammar here as the form of the sentence, and what surrounds it of syntax, morphology, spelling, and punctuation, and they can be easily learned within a year by reading language rules in general. In short, if you want to be a writer, acquire educational books on grammar rules and choose books with exercises, as by doing many exercises and solving questions, you will become more proficient in grammar. Yes, you can learn all the above, syntax, morphology, spelling, and punctuation, through intensive reading and constant exposure to written texts, but that may take a long time. The most effective alternative is to buy books that offer intensive exercises in language rules, spelling, and punctuation, answer them, test yourself, and thereby acquire grammar skills in a short time. As for vocabulary, we define it as the words used in writing, such as to tackle, to address, and phrases such as to shed light on, to narrow down, and clichés such as to whom it may concern, among others. Although the traditional way to acquire it is through reading and constant exposure to those words. By reading thousands of pages, there are some effective methods, with direct vocabulary collection being at the top. Yes, instead of reading a lot of pages to get used to new vocabulary in them, open a note on your mobile and collect in it 1,000 new words that you come across over a month. Then apply to them the following effective methods that enhance your ability to remember them. Like 1. Putting the words in realistic life-related sentences. Then 2. Putting them in questions. Then 3. Reading them periodically. The best way to memorize and reinforce vocabulary is to collect it directly and then put it in realistic, life-related sentences, not imaginary and fictional sentences. And this is called the contextualization method, meaning putting the word in a realistic context experienced by the writer. So, the best way to remember vocabulary is to write 1,000 sentences for the 1,000 words you collected over a month. So, instead of writing fictional sentences like John tackled the problem and Mary addressed the problem, where John and Mary are imaginary figures here, write realistic, life-related sentences like, this weekend, I sat down to tackle the mountain of emails that piled up in my inbox, and my daughter Jennifer addressed the issue of being denied the opportunity to take the test. Placing words in living sentences reinforces them in memory and facilitates their recall when needed. Despite the effectiveness of the previous method, the only drawback is that the writer will not remember the word tackle unless he remembers sending emails, and he will not remember the word addressed unless he remembers the test, because the words are associated with fixed contexts. This dilemma can be overcome by presenting the words in the form of questions, as questions renew the contexts and uses of the word. For example, 1,000 questions can be asked, such as what is the problem that you did not tackle a week ago? And what is the issue that you addressed today? Your frequent exposure to these questions and your attempt to answer them using the words mentioned in the questions will make you respond with a renewed answer in each attempt, and this will enhance the recall of the words as they will appear in different contexts with new readings. Remember this: the goal of writing a text of 1,000 realistic sentences or a text of 1,000 questions is to create your own document that you read and expose yourself to its words daily, weekly, and monthly. Smart plan. Instead of reading a 500-page novel where you encounter 75 new words, you now read 1,000 sentences where you encounter 1,000 words intensely in one place only. We've created a new text for you. The more you read that text, the more you'll be exposed to the words in it, making it easier for you to remember them later. Try these tricks, and you'll find them effective. And don't neglect the approach of writing realistic sentences under the pretext that asking questions about them is better. Try both ways and choose which one is more effective in enhancing your vocabulary. Reading prepared texts of your own will save you years of intensive reading. With the previous methods, you will learn 12,000 new words annually, and by directly solving grammar questions, you will become proficient in grammar such as syntax, morphology, spelling, and punctuation. This concerns reading to acquire structures and vocabulary. As for reading to acquire ideas and perspectives, this is a task that requires a long time, up to 10 years. Nevertheless, there are effective ways to accelerate idea acquisition, such as 1. Quickly browsing through books, focusing more on acquiring ideas than acquiring words. 2. Reading book summaries as they always present the most important ideas and perspectives. And 3. Reading short, mini-blog posts like those on Platform X, where each post carries one idea. All of this is beneficial. Once you've learned and mastered grammar, vocabulary, ideas, and perspectives, you'll be ready to write. Yes, you don't need more than that, as writing is just 1. A lovely idea, and 2. A beautiful word. The lovely idea gives writing strength, and the beautiful word gives it charm. The strength of ideas is useful in persuasion, and the charm of words is useful in influence. However, I argue here that a beautiful word without a lovely idea is better than a lovely idea without a beautiful word, for writing is just words. If grammar and ideas are the skeleton, then vocabulary is the muscular flesh that displays the attractiveness and strength of the physique. If you accomplish the task of acquiring beautiful words, you have completed 75% of the writing task, and you are now among the great writers. We will now begin the task of writing, which you already started by writing 1,000 realistic sentences. Start now by writing your essay, remembering that it consists of 3 parts. 1. Introduction. 2. Main body. And 3. Conclusion. Begin by thinking about the idea you want to discuss in the essay, and you can find it by researching about it, for a good writer is a good researcher. Search in other essays. You'll find beautiful ideas with poor words. So, think about rephrasing them and rebuilding them with your own words. You'll also find sweet words with dull ideas. So, think about rephrasing the ideas and reinforcing them in your own way. Identify the idea from the beginning and write it as a thesis statement, for the thesis statement is the sentence that summarizes the idea you want to present in your essay. Let's say that the thesis statement you will write your article about is the following sentence. Formal school education does not benefit students. It's a sentence and an idea through which you want to defend the idea that school is not beneficial. You've found the idea now, so start writing. Start the task of drafting, for writing starts randomly like this, without organization or care. Yes, write randomly what you want to convey, and make your rule that every writing requires revision. In other words, there is no correct writing from the first pen stroke or the first keyboard press. Yes, there is no correct draft from the first strike. Write and correct, because what you will publish is the second or third draft. Writing is a corrective task more than a creative one. Writing requires repeated correction. When you write the draft, write the main body first, and then write the introduction and conclusion later. Start with the main body, recalling that the main body can take several forms, as the essay has several types. There are 1. The argumentative essay, 2. The descriptive essay, 3. The expository essay, and 4. The cause and effect essay. There are also 5. The compare and contrast essay, 6. The narrative essay, 7. The poetic essay, 8. The definition essay, 9. The critical essay, and 10. The research essay. Let's discuss each type separately. example, write the main body in the form of an argumentative essay, arguing in your essay that formal education does not serve students. It can be said here that the best way to build the argumentative article is to present 3 arguments defending formal education and refute them. Then present 3 arguments contradicting formal education and support them. Present all arguments and target opposing arguments that your reader may invoke. Diversify your arguments. Use logical argument, logos. For example, there are scientists who excelled when they left school. Use emotional argument, pathos. For example, we all dislike waking up early and dislike standing in line. And use ethical argument, ethos. For example, a school that threatens and overwhelms students undermines their creativity. You can also write the main body as a descriptive essay, describing the observed abuses in formal education. Describe accurately what happens inside formal schools, and try here the show-don't-tell technique. That is, present and describe the abuses without passing judgments, so the reader can infer what you want to convey through implication. Make the reader infer what you want to convey. For example, instead of, "The student came back from school tired," describe the scene. "The student came back from school exhausted and threw himself on the bed after a hard day." So the reader can infer the hardship of studying and going to school. And instead of "the student left school," write, "The student fled the confines of the school, hurling himself into the embrace of the wind with a vehement disdain for the halls he left behind." So the reader can infer the intensity of the aversion to school. You can also write the main text in the style of an explanatory essay, meaning explain your idea and simplify it for the lay reader. Here you can use a casual tone, as colloquial words attract lay readers and make them feel like the essay is a WhatsApp message. Try to insert explanatory colloquial words in your essay. Don't write all the words in formal language like "the student did not understand the teacher's words." Make the essay somewhat colloquial and write as an alternative, "The student didn't get what the teach was saying." Instead of "the student thought about bribing the teacher," write, "and the student thought about success with a few bucks." Instead of "cheating is common in schools," write, "pants are stuffed with cheats in schools." Explain the idea colloquially, as including colloquial speech in newspaper articles is an enjoyable and famous style. You can also write the text in the style of a causal essay, presenting your idea by saying that this causes that. For example, school neglect causes students to fail in official jobs, and one of the reasons for school failure is teachers ensuring their job security. Try this type with a conversational writing style, which is a famous style that attracts readers. Write as if you are speaking. Don't write, "regular schools are failing." Write as if you're speaking to the reader. Write, for example, "Let me tell you a secret and whisper in your ear. Come closer. Schools are failing, and the reason is this and that." So the reader reads your article as if you're speaking to them. I hope you understood the reason for that, dear reader. Did you understand? Listening to speech is easier than reading what's written. You can also write the text in the form of a comparative article, comparing between government schools and private schools. Compare and try the iconic writing style, meaning use an icon or a tangible symbol instead of a mere word. Don't write, for example, "American schools are better than our schools." Put a symbol and say, "Uncle Sam's schools are better than our schools." So the reader links Uncle Sam with America. Don't write, "Old-fashioned studying is better than modern studying." Put a symbol that reminds us of them and write, "Studying" with chalk is better than studying with an iPad screen. Don't write physical education teacher and art teacher, say body teacher and color teacher. Iconic writing is famous in newspaper pieces, so try it out. You can also write the text in the style of a narrative essay, meaning write the idea as a narrated story, and try to employ sensory writing here, meaning write a story that activates the reader's 5 senses so they immerse in it like reality. Activate the sense of touch, for example, and write, "The teacher started talking and spittle was flying from his mouth, hitting the students' faces, making them recoil." Activate the reader's sense of smell as well and write, "My son entered school and the smell of Dettol or the smell of perfumes filled the school." The reader will definitely smell the Dettol perfumes. Activate taste. "My son put the drawing pencil in his mouth, tasting the flavor of the bitter tree." Activate hearing. The principal's screams and instructions to the students were deafening. The story stands out when the reader's 5 senses are activated. Instead of writing the text as a narrative article enriched with sensory descriptions only, support it by writing it as a poetic essay supported by poetic vocabulary. Use here poetic writing. So instead of using academic environment, opt for expressions like ivory tower or arena of academia. Choose a temple of knowledge or a beacon of enlightenment. In place of an educational institution, refer to students as seekers of knowledge or torchbearers of truth. Use tapestry of thought instead of educational context. For research, use quest for truth or journey into the unknown, and replace library with sanctuary of wisdom or archive of the ages. In essence, infuse your essay with literary flair to enhance its vividness and appeal. You can also write the text in the style of a definitional essay, meaning edit and define the terms to clarify the idea, sometimes in a funny way, such as defining government school as originally a governing school. So write, "Governing schools are based on randomness." Embrace the wordplay technique, where altering a single letter in a word crafts a new meaning, a tactic often seen in journalistic writing. For instance, swap class with glass, implying a clearer view on education. In the glass of life, every lesson is transparent. Instead of saying grade a paper, try grade a paper, suggesting meticulous scrutiny. He would grate each paper, sifting ideas like cheese. Replace desk with disk to hint at the digital era's influence. Students now turn their attention from the desk to the disk, where knowledge spins in modern formats. Moreover, assert that a teacher should reach before teach the students, emphasizing connection. She reaches into their minds before she teaches the lessons. And remember, preaching should not take place of teaching, underscoring the difference in approach. His classroom was a place for teaching, not preaching, where dialogue trumped monologue. You can also write the text as a critical essay and criticize schools in a serious academic way or in a sarcastic, spontaneous way. Think about employing sarcastic criticism to attract readers and use here realistic writing, connecting them to their reality. Instead of "the student memorized," write, "and the student kept memorizing and repeating, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all." And instead of "the principal chased the escaping students," mock and say, "and suddenly the principal turned into the Jamaican runner Usain Bolt and sprinted in a 100-meter race." Mock and use reality. The student bought their notebooks from Walmart, and the teacher came boasting with a fancy bag with a sticker from Gucci. Real life makes the reader more connected to the article. Finally, you can write the text as a research article and present research studies supporting your idea. You can do this as a journalistic article with nugget writing style, meaning write small scattered excerpts, then put them in one article so they form a series of research information. It's a famous journalistic style in Saudi Arabia. You'll find it, for example, in Saturday's Extracts by Mashiel Al-Sudairi currently, or in Friday's Extracts by Saleh Al-Shihi previously. It's a style that makes the reader aware of various ideas at once. Try it in your article. Write, for example, a short point about a school in Finland decides such and such, then attach it with another point about an American student attacks his teacher, then a third point about schools closing in Egypt, for example. Try writing the text using the previous 10 styles: argumentative, descriptive, explanatory, causal, comparative, narrative, poetic, definitional, critical, and research. Choose your own style and voice, or integrate all styles to create a diverse text. After writing the text, start writing the introduction and make it appealing, as the introduction is the hook that attracts readers. You can attract the reader with a strange, real-life story. I coincidentally met the Minister of Education in Jeddah, and he said, or with a provocative statement, "Let me tell you about a scandal," or with a quotation or aphorism, "Whoever taught me a letter became my master," as the liars say, or directly present the idea in the introduction. Education is failing. That's my idea and main point. Attract the reader in any way you can. After finishing the text and the introduction, start the conclusion and make it memorable. Try ending in a classic way, summarizing your thesis and the main idea of your article, or in an interactive way by asking a question to provoke the reader to think and comment on the essay, or with a call to action by inviting them to do something related to your idea. One way to conclude is what is called the closure, which is often found in journalism. You might say, "We still need to say," or "a moment of reflection," or "one last note." Then follow these closures with a poetic line, a quotation, or a humorous anecdote to engage the reader or promise to continue the essay to keep the reader interested in what's to come. In short, close the article and engage the reader. After finishing writing the draft, introduction, body, and conclusion, review the text to ensure 3 values: conciseness, coherence, and cohesion. Correct the essay, remove unnecessary parts, and add to it until you create a concise text. Then review the coherence of ideas and use transitional words to connect them, such as moreover, however, therefore, as these words make your essay intellectually coherent. Finally, review the linguistic cohesion of the essay by examining the flow of its words, sentences, and pronouns to create a linguistically cohesive article. After mastering conciseness, coherence, and cohesion, take a break from the essay for a sufficient period to gain a fresh eye that easily spots mistakes. Correct the errors you notice and evaluate the weaknesses in the aspects of the essay and strengthen them. If you don't have enough time to gain a fresh eye, present your essay to your friend, as your friend possesses a fresh eye. Yes, your friend can easily explore your writing errors since they haven't been involved in building the essay from the beginning and haven't lost themselves in its folds. Try presenting your essay to your friend and don't be afraid of spoiling the movie, as they say. A movie spoiled for one person is better than a low-quality movie spoiled for all readers. Review, consult, and correct. After reviewing, choose an exciting and appealing title for the readers, as readers may not find time to read the introduction of every essay. If the introduction is the hook, then the title is the biggest hook. Yes, choose a catchy title and let it be shocking, like saying, "Our education is failing," "To school, march," "Street schools," "Shame on you, teacher." Choose a title that grabs the reader's attention. Finally, after creating the title, choose the appropriate publishing house and follow its guidelines, confirming that you understand the importance of respecting intellectual property. Repeat the process. Write and publish, remembering that writing is an ongoing constructive project. Those who write more will find high proficiency in writing more and more, as the abundance of applications is what sharpens skills. Finally, we come to the end of the Writer's Toolbox course. We have learned a lot in this course, and the best thing we have learned is that writing is a process of communication, and it's just a word and an idea, an introduction, a body, and a conclusion, with 10 diverse styles and with hooks in their titles, introductions, and conclusions. If we want to end with one last piece of advice, we would say, focus on the skill of touch typing. I mean the skill of fast typing on the keyboard. It's an important skill that speeds up the writing process during drafting, editing, and revising. In short, don't worry about developing your writing now, but take a month to master touch typing without looking at the keyboard. Start learning touch typing, remembering that writing is essentially a correction task, and touch typing speeds up this task. This course, Writer's Toolbox, is taken from the book Educational Programs by Muteb Alqarni.